Hello, my friends. It's halftime of 2021, and I'm actually out of my morning ruck because I'm training for my backpacking trip in Idaho in August. And so I'm carrying some weight on my back, just getting my body trained because this was part of the game plan for 2021. How closely are you on your game plan for 2021? So it's halftime. So what do? We're going to have a halftime locker room talk. So when you get ready to go into the locker room for halftime, first thing you need to know is you need to know what the score is. Check the score. So here were your goals at the beginning of 2021, and here is your production year to date. How many listings have you taken? How many sales? How much commission have you made, closed, and pending going into halftime? Because it lets you see compared to the goal of winning the championship of 2021 for your business and your life, where are you? Now, you have to look at that. You also have to look at what are the things that have happened in the first quarter that I need to make adjustments because of, if we're behind, if we've had an injury, if we've had certain things happen, or if we've had plays that we thought were going to work and aren't working, how are we going to adjust those? So we check the score, and then we check the stats. We check the performance. We check what's working and what's not working. What have we been doing well? What have I not been doing well? And what adjustments do I need to make? So the third thing is now to create your second half game plan as we adjust right here in the middle of the year and look at what's working, what's not working. So for me and my business, we've had several things happen in our business. We've had the years off to a great start. Income-wise, our business is pretty much on track for our goals, but we've had some major setbacks. My dad got sick with cancer, so I spent 2 months with him while he went down, and then we lost him last month or earlier this month. Just had his funeral. Um, we lost two team members at the beginning of this year or during this year, so we've had to replace one of them. Another one we haven't replaced yet. We're in the process of replacing. We're looking at our halftime. We had our quarterly meeting, our Q3 meeting, which is basically our halftime locker room meeting on Monday. Right now, especially if you're a single agent, you got to sit down with yourself and go like, okay, what's the score? And not just keep plowing along. If what you're doing's not been working, what am I going to do to change it? If what I'm doing in this area is working, what can I do to leverage that, to increase that, to get better results than that? I had one coaching member sent out a mailing. They sent out a letter to 400 homeowners because they had a buyer looking in a specific neighborhood, and they're like, I need a buyer for that. I need a seller for my buyer. And she sent out 400 letters and got one listing. Not the buyer didn't buy it, but she got the listing, $7,500 commission check, and another seller lead that is a high probability. And it was from one mailing, 400 letters that cost her less than $400. And she made 7,500 so far, and she's established a lot of great relationships from that. Now, that's not what I did. When I was building my business, I did all prospecting. I never sent out mailers. And so it's like, okay, so she was asking this question, is that just a one-off or should I start doing that? And I'm like, well, you don't know yet. It's kind of like taking one shot from behind the 3-point line and it goes in and go like, well, should I now become a 3-point shooter? I don't know. You got to shoot more. We got to find out. Are you good at it or was this just a fluke? So whatever you've been doing, don't just you can't do one-offs and say, well, it worked, it didn't work. It worked, it didn't work. If you tried something one time or 1 month and it didn't work, go like, well, I tried it, didn't work for me. What doesn't mean it's not an effective strategy. It just means maybe you didn't do it long enough. Maybe you needed to increase your skill and your confidence, your approach. So all of these are things right now at the end of the first half of 2021 that I want to challenge you to sit down and look at your business. What have you been doing? How many days have you actually worked? How many hours have you actually spent prospecting? How many days have you actually done lead follow-up? Are you doing that consistently? If you were to rate yourself in terms of effectiveness, like kind of like a free throw percentage in terms of lead follow-up, how effective has your lead follow-up been? Have you lost leads? Do you have leads right now you haven't been calling back because you're afraid or off track and not on schedule? How well have you been following your schedule, your daily schedule? Because your daily schedule is what ensures productivity if you've got a good schedule. So all of these are things that you've got to sit down and go like, okay, how am I doing on this? Am I practicing? Am I doing the training required to increase my skills, to increase the way I execute my strategies? Are my systems rolling and are they working well, or am I all over the place? Am I living in proactively pursuing my goals, or am I living in reaction or even worse, distraction? and sit down. And the most important thing you got to do is tell yourself the truth and understand that you are your greatest investment. And this is a time to sit down and evaluate yourself and check yourself. Check your production, your performance, your attitude, your mindset, your strength, your skills, your systems. How are they working? And are you working? Are you dialed in? Are you focused? Are you focused on pursuing goals and dreams that inspire you? Or are you just grinding? Because if you're just grinding, you're going to burn out. So all of these things are things that I've had to do is sitting down and looking at, okay, so with my dad having cancer, and I spent nearly 2 months in Texas going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I took multiple trips. And so it took me out of the game so much, and things that I had set as goals for the year, not just business wise, but personal goals. I'm like, okay, I got off track on that. So I'm doing these rucks, which is my training for my backpacking trip, because it's going to be 42 miles in 4 days with nearly 10,000 feet of elevation gain at 8 to 10,000, over 10,000 feet of elevation with a bunch of guys and carrying on your back everything you need for 4 days. And I'm like, I haven't trained for it. I'm not conditioned to do it. And now it's 6 weeks away, the trip. So what I got to do, I've got to make up time. And so I'm having to do extra training and really get dialed in on that. And that's just that's just one of the goals that I set for the year. So it's beyond just your business goals. It's your personal goals. What did you set for the year and how are you doing on that? So we have to make the adjustments after you make the assessments, and then immediately tomorrow, July 1st, is get yourself into inspired action like never before, so that the second half of 2021 guarantees for you a championship year.